Roll Tide, everybody. Look who's back. Back from the dead. Yeah, Mr. Jake Coker. Feeling better now. If he coughs a little bit on the air today, just excuse him for that. Let's get him. Let's get his open playing. Let's go. All right, it's time for Elephant in the Room, brought to you by mybookie.ag. Use that promo code Crimson and take advantage of some of the great deals that we have right now for you at MyBookie. So, look, man, great to see you back in action again. Been wondering where you've been.
Yeah, man, I don't know how many times I've ever completely lost my voice where I couldn't even speak, but and I don't know what that was I had last week, but let me tell you, it was rough. It was rough. I mean, still able to work, but phone calls weren't happening. The show wasn't happening. Thank God for steroids and antibiotics.
Yeah,
I'm almost back.
Okay. Yeah, and you're new to this, and so I just tried to give you some encouragement. Just keep your head up, kid. Keep fighting, and
yeah, I could have played in a football game. Couldn't do a podcast.
Yeah, what's tougher business?
There's levels of toughness to this thing,
Good to see you back.
I didn't truly appreciate how tough you were, Mick. You've been doing this a long time.
Right. I've been trying to tell you that, and get like just kind of lead you in the right direction in this game, and when sometimes you got to play hurt, but if you don't have a voice.
Yeah, I mean, you don't appear to be a guy who could really last, who could survive that kind of being down and out like me. But look at you. You're still here.
I'm still standing. Isn't that what Elton John said? Oh, my goodness. Hey, guys, cover Crimson, $25 off the annual subscription. Clint Lamb, Stacy's on there. We got some more people coming on, so check it out. We'll be talking about Bama. Obviously, a bunch of recruiting stuff going on. Even today, some things could be going down, and we're covering that, and we'll probably be on the channel live if Bama gets some good news today. But, well, I'm glad you're feeling better. Did you get a chance to check out what happened in Tuscaloosa with the 8A, whatever it was? I was there with Clint Lamb, and was not that impressed, to be honest with you. I think it was a waste of time for me, but I'm not a guy that likes to go out there and watch 8 different things going on at practice at one time. I'd rather watch the game. Well,
that's, I couldn't even find it on TV.
It wasn't on TV.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. This past week has been kind of it's been a little demeaning to college football, I feel like. Hearing about this spring game or spring practice. And look, I understand why, to a certain degree, why these programs are doing this. I mean, I guess it's out of extreme caution. But this sport's all about tradition, in my opinion. It's all about tradition. It's all about including fans. Fans of college football are far more invested in their teams than any pro sport. A lot of them have grown up around Tuscaloosa, have graduated from Alabama, graduated from whatever school that they're pulling for. They want to be involved, and just the level of engagement doesn't seem to be there like it used to be. Now, again, it's still Alabama. We're all going to pull for Alabama. We love Alabama. It's just the changing of the landscape. And then, you see what's going on with this Tennessee quarterback situation. Just some hard things to watch right now in terms of people, I feel like, investing a lot in going to games, seeing games, pulling for teams, spending a lot of hard-earned money going to spring games, and you look at some of these platforms where fans are pitching in some of their money to pay these players, and you got guys just up and leaving, and I don't know, just not a whole lot of loyalty right now, and you're seeing a lot of changes in the pageantry of college football that usually bring fans in and make them feel more part of the program.
I spent a lot of time in Knoxville. I'm actually there, or here, which is there right now. And I've heard for a long time that Nico didn't want to fulfill his commitment with the NIL, which would be, showing up at places outside of the football field to do events and stuff. People were complaining about that for a long time before he even played a game. So this doesn't surprise me, but I kind of feel like this is more of a one-off than what to expect in the future, just because of that. Now, I'm not privy to every single program around the country. We cover Alabama. That's where our hearts are. And then, I'm just up here. And you just catch things from people that I think it's a shame, though, that he would walk out on his teammates like that. And everybody said, well, it's bad advice, or, it's the NCAA. At the end of the day, you still have to have principle. And if you're making $2 million to play quarterback, and that's what you agreed to do, you got to do that. I mean, you should have asked for 3. If you wanted 4, but before, when you make a deal, you got to, you just got to stick by it, right? I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Well, I think there's a few different lenses to look at this through. I think, maybe everything works out for him, where he gets paid more money, and I guess that was the ultimate goal here. Mm-hmm. I think honestly the way that this works out, and I feel bad for Nico, because I think that he has gotten really bad advice. I mean, if it's my son going through that, the only way that happens is if he is absolutely miserable at Tennessee, can't stand his coaches, he doesn't have much support from his team, and this is just a way out, and he wants to leave no matter what, and it doesn't really matter. The money doesn't matter. If I'm his dad, man, you making $2 million at Tennessee, just being the starter at Tennessee is worth a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Not on paper, but just the opportunities later on. You treat people with respect at Tennessee. You give them appreciation for allowing you to be the starter at Tennessee. And then the money that comes on top of that is just a bonus. These kids and the parents, I think they think that they got to get the money while they can, which, I mean, I certainly think that there's logic to that. But at the same time, these kids got to understand that there's going to be life after football. The way that you treat people throughout your life, college, NFL, you may never make it to the NFL, high school. There's far more to life and the process of life than just the money.
Right.
And when you go to a place like Tennessee, I mean, my God, they've already made him the starter. They've given him the red carpet. I mean, you've got everything you could ask for. When you leave that place, you want everybody to say, man, that guy came here. He made everybody around him better. He respected people, and he did things the right way. And if they're giving you
after the interruption, we're back. But let me tell you guys that we're brought to you by Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. Jake and I are planning our next trip there. It'll be sometime soon. But table games and slots at Golden Moon and Silver Star Casino. You also have Dancing Rabbit Golf Course, which is the Augusta you can play. We watched the Masters this weekend, but the Azaleas and the Oaks are 2 beautiful golf courses. And take it from Jake. He's a semi-pro golfer. When you go out on that course, Jake, it is really just beautiful out there. An hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 and change from Birmingham. Not far for us either, coming down from the coast. Anything to add to that?
He just kind of paused and looked at me like.
Well, let me change the subject to to Bama. I mean, we talked a lot about Nico and that. But so the 8A deal was a practice, and then at the end of it, Ryan Grubb got on stage and basically said Ty Simpson's the quarterback right now. He earned it. That he was the best of the group. I mean, just kind of watching him back there reminds me a little bit of you, man. Like a big dude, can throw the ball. I think he can move. You didn't get enough credit for your athleticism, but he's an athlete too. And right now, that to me, Ryan Grubb saying that means that he's the starting quarterback, sends a message to the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of perfect what Ryan Grubb said. You know, I mean, if there had to be a starter tomorrow, it would be Ty Simpson, and I think everybody knows that. Everybody realizes that. I mean, you got a guy, and not to be on the Tennessee situation, but a guy that's been loyal to the program the entire time. A guy that's got his head's on his shoulders the right way. He understands what he's looking at. Very high IQ, football IQ guy. Puts you in the safest situation you could feel, the safest possible situation if you're looking at the quarterback battle right now. I think in terms of measurables, Mac and Russell, I think, may have him in a few areas. That doesn't mean that anybody is better than Ty. I mean, you look at, Drew Brees versus Cam Newton. Drew Brees doesn't have the measurables Cam Newton has, but he's obviously the better quarterback.
Right.
I just think Ty puts us in a really, really good spot. And I think his leadership on the field really gives a lot of confidence to other guys. It's going to make them play a lot better as well.
Mm-hmm.
Keelan Russell, you heard him.
What do you think this does with the team, though? Like when they hear this, like what did they already know? You think?
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody already kind of knows. I mean, look, nobody's told me that Ty is going to be the guy. I've certainly heard that he's the favorite. Just given you can just watch him operate on the field. You see his confidence. You see the way he communicates with other players. That goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is his job, unless he goes out there and absolutely just somehow blows it, the first 1, 2, 3 games next year. Off the field over the summertime, I think when you have that defined leader, that guy that everybody's looking to, he's running the 7-on-7s and all the voluntary stuff off season. I think it's going to make those guys a lot better again over those June, July, August months,
right?
As well. Again, defined leadership during the off season, I think, really allows a team to grow and get a lot better. Whereas other teams that I think are a little disjointed during the off season kind of have a hard time finding that rhythm and progressing throughout the off season. So again, I think, I don't want to make any assumptions. Again, I haven't seen Austin Mack enough to say a whole lot. It's just, what you hear and kind of what you're thinking. They seem to be really high on Keelan and really like him a lot. Ty seems to be the safest pick. I think Austin's kind of in a weird spot right now. And look, I've been in the weird spot before. I know it's, you're kind of in that awkward sandwich spot where a new guy comes in and you got a guy that's older than you that's a proven leader. You got one option, and that is to get better, make a name for yourself, and try to move up. It is what it is. It's football at any level. But it sounds to me that Austin's made a lot of headway. Keelan is one of those guys with a really, really high ceiling, and he seems to, based on what Ryan Grubb is saying, he seems to kind of understand, he's got a long way to go, but at the same time, he's not coming in with that mindset of, I'm a freshman, I've got no chance. I have to get better really fast, because the guy that's starting, he's got a big time head start, and I got a lot of ground to make up. But it's, again, sounds like he comes out there really level head, isn't intimidated by the moment, and he's not afraid to fail, which is huge for a young guy to come in and be willing to make those mistakes and kind of have that vulnerable time as a freshman with a bunch of older guys, kind of looking over your shoulder. He seems to be handling that very well.
What's he do now? What do these guys do now that spring's over? Like, what do they do to get ready for the season? And in particular, Ty Simpson. I mean, what would you tell him to do?
Well, the summer breaks, which, I know spring break of this year, he was working out. There was no, he wasn't traveling anywhere, having a good time. He was, I know he was with guys at QB country working out and getting better. This time off, they're about to get over the summertime. It's no time to take a break. Maybe heal the body a little bit and keep working out. But, this is Ty's time. The next 10 years of Ty's life are going to be dependent upon, his performance over the next year or 2 years. So, and I think, given his background with his dad, he understands that. Having met and know Ty a little bit, I know he understands the gravity of the situation. A lot of his future will depend on, how much time he puts in from now to the start of this season. So, the time he has alone, it's all about getting better. The time he has with his teammates, it's all about, building those relationships and making sure that everybody's got each other's back in September. Build that trust, build those relationships, be able to communicate on the field like it's second nature, and be a well-oiled machine by the time you get to September. And you want to be to the point where, you're another coach on the field.
Yeah. And I think that's what they want to see him do, and that's the advantage he brings to the table is the 4 years that he's been back there practicing, and being a backup quarterback. And now, he's the option, but they keep saying this, that they don't want a game manager. They want somebody that's going to go out there and make plays and be dynamic. And that's how their offense works. So, and I don't get that sense.
I never said game manager. Now I hate that word.
I know, but what I'm saying is that, like, people say that, well,
man, I honestly, game manager is a pretty good compliment to me. I mean, if you're managing the game, getting the ball in the right spot, it's not always the spectacular plays that win games. But the game manager, I can't stand that label. It's, that's essentially what a quarterback is. You get the ball to the right guy. You understand down and distance what you need in order to put your team in the best position to win. And, at the end of the day, that's kind of what you want, right? A guy, look, Ty's got the athleticism, as you said, earlier in the show, to make things happen when things aren't, working out perfectly. But, at the end of the day, if there's a guy right now, again, like Ryan Grubb said, that's got to make a decision throughout the game to put us in the best position to win, it's Ty. If you want to call him a game manager, that's fine. I think that's I think it's a compliment, but,
but game winner.
I know what that label has, suggested over the years, and I completely disagree. But, I'll take a game manager all day long. Yeah,
well, I will too, as long as they win. Yeah. I think that the media, though, loves to, they love to prop up guys because they're flashy. And then when you don't win, like, it's like, well, it was fun losing. Winning doesn't always have to be flashy. It's got to be consistent. And, and a team effort, it feels like, sometimes when you have these guys that wing the ball around a lot and, and do all the flashy stuff, I feel like it takes away from the, from the ability to have everybody doing their part to help win and other responsibilities out there.
Well, we've talked about it on this show for the last year and a half. Teams that cannot be consistent running the ball are going to have a hard time consistently winning games. I mean, I think you can, if you've got a lot of stud athletes, a lot of guys on the outside, I mean, a lot of speed, I think you can win with talent up to, 10 games consistently, but you're going to have bad games. It just is what it is. You're going to play good teams and the ball's not going to bounce your way here and there. And it's going to cost you games. It is what it is. Unless you can dominate the line of scrimmage and move the ball on the ground, you just cannot consistently win enough games to be, well, now the playoffs bigger, so the opportunity to make the playoffs a lot higher. But I know back in my day when there was only 4 teams and you had to win at least 11 games, you had to be able to run the ball. It's kind of when the SEC was from 07 to really 20. Up until the last few years, you saw all these offenses outside of the SEC change to, just slinging the ball all over the field, and they'd go undefeated, in their conferences, and then they come and play in the SEC, and there's a different level of toughness, different level of consistency, and the proof is in the results. The SEC won at the highest clip of any conference in the country based on that style of play. It's definitely made its way into the SEC. We're seeing a lot. The SEC's definitely spread out a lot more from an offensive standpoint, but you still see generally more physical football in the SEC than anywhere else.
50% deposit bonus up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip when using the promo code Crimson at mybookie.ag. And we appreciate them, mybookie.ag, for being here. So you can do that from your own home as you watch all the stuff going on right now, which is golf and NASCAR and NBA basketball and baseball. Slow time of year. I know that's what you wanted to say.
I wasn't going to say it.
I can read your mind, though. I knew you were going to say that. So just throw it out there. Well, now we just sit back and watch recruiting. And this is where Alabama's really got to turn it up. They got a 5-star commitment right after 8A. And, there's a lot of work to do in this recruiting class.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, I feel a lot better about our receiving core this year than I did last year. In terms of just youth experience, putting guys in key roles that, Isaiah Horton, it looks like Latsier Brooks is going to be one hell of a player. You got Ryan and Jeremy coming back. I think it's going to be a complete flip from last year to this year in terms of just where our strength is going to be on offense. So, and I think that's going to be huge for Ty. First year starting, having guys that have been out there before, understanding their landmarks and where to be, being able to help him, give him some comfort in those games where it's loud, crazy, chaotic. It's nice when you can't really hear anything and you can't communicate very well to call a play and know that guys are going to be where they're supposed to be. And I think that's going to be the case this year.
Well, it's going to be fun to see how it all goes down. The next thing we'll have is the transfer portal. And I wonder if we lose any guys. I think we're going to go after a tight end. I wouldn't be surprised if the right offensive lineman popped in there if we wouldn't get him. But that's where we kind of are right now with things, is where the next step's going to be transfer portal. How many guys do you lose? How many guys do you bring back? And what that looks like. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, guys, on today's show. And again, I want to remind you that we're brought to you by Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. We appreciate them so much for everything that they do. And it's that time of year, man. Go over, hit the golf course, Dancing Rabbit. We talked about that before. And, we'll be over there really soon. But like, subscribe, thumbs up. We'll talk to you guys again soon. And really I feel like this from the bottom of my heart. Roll